Alright, so I had a few things to say about tonight's episode. Pretty much Nikki and also Helen were kind of giving their goodbye, going away speeches, and also giving advice to the house. And pretty much Helen had said what she had said, and then Nikki had pretty much gave some advice to Sam to kind of stand up for herself. Sam, she definitely took offense to it, and she ended up responding back to Nikki, pretty much saying how Nikki kind of threw Marc under the bus. During that time, I know Brian was pretty upset about Jay getting evicted, and everybody seems to blame Marc when something happens, but mainly with that, from what I remember in the house happening, it was Nikki and Helen who decided to nominate Jade and decided that she was going to be on the block. I remember Brian, he didn't want Jade to go up at all. And then Marc, from what I remember, he was stating that since he's always speaking out and always, looking like the bad guy, that he was pretty much going to go with the majority vote in the house. So since Nikki and Helen kind of outweighed Brian's vote, Marc decided to go with the two votes, and it was 3-1. So Jade ended up getting voted out during that time. So, Sam was kind of mentioning the whole thing about Nikki, and she kind of stood up for herself, which I was proud of, as you don't really see it too much in the house. But, Marc had made a mention during the whole thing about Sam standing up for herself, and then Danny kind of got involved into it and was just pretty much trying to tell him to let Nikki finish talking, and then he kind of started going back and forth with Marc, and I just kind of felt like it wasn't really Danny's place to jump in during that argument. So then later on in the house, Marc, he got into an argument with Ashleen, and that was pretty ugly. I actually thought when Ashleen got up to go over to Marc that she was going to hit him. Then later on, I guess Marc was, asking each one of the housemates if they thought they wanted to win the game of Big Brother. Some of them was denying it, saying, no, I don't really want to win. And, Marc is like, you want to win. So he kind of just keeps pressing her buttons, which Marc usually does. But then again, Danny, he gets involved again. So he's just kind of like, why don't you chill out, Marc? I know you're trying to rile people up and kind of get them started. So Danny and Marc end up getting into it. And I guess Danny was at his limit with Marc, as he always feels that he's trying to stir up the house. So, they kind of got nose to nose, and Danny was going off. At the time he was eating a sandwich. So he decided to, walk away, as Big Brother is saying, Danny, go to a different room. He launches the sandwich, misses and hits Joel with the sandwich. Joel kind of is like, whoa. And then so, he still has another piece of the sandwich and decides to launch it again, and then that hits Marc. But here's the whole thing about Danny. It seems like Danny always goes after Marc, but not really nobody else in the house. Now granted, a lot of the housemates say a lot of things, and I know with the originals he doesn't really argue with them because those are his friends or whatnot. And I know that Marc kind of likes to irritate some in the house just to kind of get under their skin, but at times, he's serious, and I think, Danny kind of just goes after him because it's Marc. And I know they play around or whatnot, but it always seems like he has something against Marc. And then towards the end of this episode, you kind of see Marc and Sam kind of forming a little alliance, as Sam, she's kind of fed up with people saying that she doesn't have a voice and she's not speaking up. So her and Marc was kind of, it seemed like they were realigning from what they previously did before. And I know they were kind of close before, but then that kind of broke off around the time that Marc was leaving the house. But honestly, I hope that Sam and Marc really stay close to each other. Is Sam, she kind of is friendly with everybody in the house, and she doesn't really speak her mind too much. So we'll just kind of see where that goes, and I'm interested to see what happens with Danny and Marc from here. I know they usually get into it, but it's kind of like I know his heart is in the right place when he's sticking up for the other housemates, because he knows they won't speak up, and Danny's just trying to show that he's not afraid to speak up on their behalf. And Marc is kind of calling him out on it, like you're just trying to be the hero, and Danny is like, no, I'm not. I'm just tired of the things that you've been doing in the house. So it's interesting to see where that whole thing is going to go. But feel free to share your thoughts on tonight's episode. What did you think? Do you think Danny is in the right or wrong for speaking up on the other housemates' behalf? How do you feel about Marc and also Ashleen and where that's going to go? Do you think they're going to get along? Do you think they're going to argue for the majority of the time in the house? Also, how do you feel about the whole Nikki and Sam thing, the argument that took forth with them? Do you feel like what Nikki was saying was legit about Sam? Do you feel like Sam, what she was saying about Nikki, was right, or was it wrong? Share your thoughts, and until next time, this has been Jacob Rob AJ, and I'll see ya.